As early as this morning, U.S. President Donald Trump will be delivering on his promise to crack down on illegal immigration.
All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came.
So that was his speech earlier on. And then hours after his inaugural address, Trump signed a flurry of executive orders declaring a national emergency at the border with Mexico, launching a mass deportation operation and saying he would end birthright citizenship. He also said Canada is one of the worst abusers when it comes to border security. In response, Canadian officials say they are prepared for a possible surge of asylum seekers at our border, what they call the northern border. Kelly Sundberg is a criminology professor at Mount Royal University and a former Canada Border Services Agency officer. He is joining us very early this morning from Calgary, and we appreciate it. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
I'm curious on your thoughts when you heard the changes that are coming. With these changes to U.S. policy on immigration, some of the moves included canceling immigration meetings with people who are right now waiting at the southern border. Those meetings were supposed to happen this week. Tears when they found out those were no longer happening. What's Canada doing to prepare for the new and immediate changes in the U.S.?
Making a lot of press releases about what we're going to do, but nothing really specific has been announced with any detail. So, there's a lot of talk and some ideas that have been floated how we're going to deal with this. But now that the Americans under Tom Homan have begun their crackdown day one of the Trump administration, there is no question that Canada is going to see thousands, hundreds of thousands of undocumented immigrants from the United States who are fleeing U.S. authorities, moving across our border into Canada, making refugee claims, taking advantage of our system, which is already stretched beyond belief, that has so many security flaws and concerns within it. It is truly concerning. I mean, it's nice to see that we dodged the initial tariffs, similar to TikTok, dodging being banned right away.
Yeah.
But this is really quite concerning.
We should point out as well to our viewers that you were seeing some of those pictures from ICE, which is the immigration services south of the border. Those are file pictures. Those are not from today or from last night. The federal government, we know, has made security a bigger priority ever since the tweet from then President-elect Donald Trump in November saying he would slap on tariffs if he didn't see better security. They added more than $1 billion in spending, but you said there hasn't been a concrete plan. What needs to be done then, in your opinion, at the border if we are expecting this surge of asylum seekers to come north now that the southern border has been shut down?
I will say it's nice to see some effort being done, but let's keep in mind our border with the United States is almost 9,000 kilometers long. Acquiring 2 helicopters under the RCMP that travel at roughly around 300 kilometers an hour, and they have a range of 600 kilometers. It would take days for 2 helicopters to adequately patrol the border, let alone engage in any interdiction activities. So these are just smoke and mirrors. I mean, if the government bought 20 helicopters and had 20 groups, that would be different. Same with the drones. The idea of increasing deportation by 25%, as was noted. Well, let's keep in mind, we have maybe around between 500 to 1,000 officers nationally across our country that are tasked with inland immigration enforcement duties, including the location, interdiction, detention, and removal of unlawful non-citizens in our country.
Yeah.
We just saw the other day that it was reported that over 50,000 foreign students are in violation of the terms of their visas. So that, if with the current staffing levels of CBSA and land enforcement, that, if we think it takes about 20 hours a file for an officer, we're looking at years to clear that one backlog from this one incident. So when I listen to the ministers' announcements, ministers in plural, because it seems like it's a nonstop rotation of who's speaking on this issue.
Positions, yeah.
Yeah, we're seeing that there's really there's a lot of spin, but there's not a lot of substance.
Okay, well, let's drill down on that a little bit. The majority of illegal crossings we know between Canada and the U.S. happen in what's called the Swanton sector. That's that stretch of land. It touches Quebec, Ontario, New York, and Vermont. We talk about the federal government putting in resources, but we know premiers like Danielle Smith and the Quebec premier has also said there's an additional 300 officers ready to serve at the border. Will more officers do what it takes? Will it be enough to be the right resources at the right time?
Nationally, we need thousands of officers to do border patrol, to process applications, to screen. The other thing is, as we've really seen play out here, it was in the news a bit in 2018 and around that period, but the tug of war between the RCMP and the CBSA. We need one agency that is responsible for our borders and for our sovereignty, and that should be the Canada Border Services Agency. Mm-hmm. Buying helicopters for the RCMP, are they 100% dedicated to border services for the time that we have those choppers? That's not clear. Sure that we have some issues, or we have these resources that we just recently acquired. Yeah. Focused in one small region, but we have again a 9,000 kilometer border with the United States. But let's not also forget that we also have the Northern Passage that's opening up because of climate change. So we have to control that that passageway. So the ministers are just throwing spaghetti at the wall, if you will, and it's really concerning. We do not have the resources. We're already stretched so thin, and the RCMP themselves are in some areas. Their staffing levels are currently at around 60% of what they're budgeted to have. So they can't get enough officers to do regular policing duties with respect to their provincial and municipal contracts, mostly in the West. How they plan on achieving this at a national level is baffling, and we've heard nothing from the Canada Border Services Agency itself. And as you just reported, we're seeing reductions in other areas. It's as if no one has any idea, but it's been neglected for 10 years. Yeah, this is a big issue. Yeah, well, we'll have to play catch up, and we'll have to do it quickly. Kelly Sundberg, criminology professor at Mount Royal University, former Canada Border Services Agency officer. Appreciate your time this morning. Thanks for waking up early for us. Thanks for having me. Take care. If you liked that video, make sure to subscribe to the Your Morning YouTube feed, where you can find all kinds of new content posted every weekday morning.